Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Heather. This is Alter the Podcast. And we're here talking about morning routines, morning practices, why this has been instrumental for me, and why I perhaps get the question so often from friends, from students, from colleagues, like, how do you do it? And why do you do it? How do you stick with a morning practice time and a routine? And how come I can't do this? I don't know if I have the answer to that question for everyone. But what I thought to do this morning was just hop in, and after I have had my morning practice times, I've recorded some meditations. I'm here with my sweet little cup filled with my morning smoothie, just to dialogue a little bit about morning practice time and how it's been instrumental for me, and maybe some encouragement and some ideas of how to be in the experiment of a commitment of some sort of meditation or morning practice time for yourself, and to see what comes of that. So I guess I would say that's point number one that I would love to make, is as I continue in this exploration of embodiment and breath work and meditation, these sort of three pillars that I love to teach and that I'm passionate about sharing with the world. The one sort of mindset that I continue to find the most helpful for myself and my students is this idea of being in the experiment of something for a certain amount of time, and to be so curious inside of those experiences. And rather than thinking of something like, I have to do this, I've just committed to this because I, fill in the blank. It's like, I'm going to experiment with this. I'm going to see what happens if I give myself every morning 5 minutes to show up. Let's talk, in the space of, we'll say, a meditation practice. Like, what changes? How am I the rest of the day? What happens at the end of that month if I'm in the experiment of every single day showing up for a meditation practice for the next month of my life? Kind of clocking, journaling, speaking to a friend, kind of how you're coming into that experiment. And then a month later, like, what did you learn about yourself? So to be in it as in this experiment of like, what's possible for me to learn about myself if I try this out? So this experimental, like, curious mindset coming into something that you're wondering about, how it could have an effect on your health and well-being. When I started, or when I committed to a daily meditation practice, I did it for myself, but I also made this sort of not verbalized commitment to my students. I had my daily movement practice. I was teaching yoga at the time, so I was very committed to my sequences and knowing how to teach them and what they felt like in my body. But the sort of up-leveling and the curiosity I had was like, how much of a better teacher and guide, partner, friend, lover to myself, and just, I would say, more loving being in the world, could I be sort of more of those things, this like tapping into the potential that I felt like, and I know that I have, and then we each have. How can that be enhanced if I show up daily in my meditation for meditation practice? So point number two that I would love to make and invite us to consider is making some sort of commitment, yes, to yourself, but for why, like, for what else? And that might help you to show up for it more, right? To be acknowledging, if you're a mother, to be in the experiment of, if I do this daily, how will that affect my mothering and my nurturing, skills? Will I be able to show up a little bit more in the way that I know I have the capacity to show up for? And especially in regards to meditation practice, what I know to be true is the sense of rejuvenation and restoration and this complete like clearing out and the sense of renewal and sort of readiness for the day, right? So again, going to the back to the example of being a mother, you know, if you're feeling a little bit more restored and renewed, how will that have an effect on your household? If you're a CEO, if you have a business, if you have a team, if you have a sick family member, you know, if we take these 5 to 20 minutes for ourselves, especially in the morning, and setting the tone for the day, what effect is that going to have? How will you be able to show up? And I know for myself that it's now that non-negotiable practice. It's something that I have grown to love and yes, to appreciate, but it's like I get out of bed looking forward to the moment that I can lay back down and go into that inward, like sacred, expansive time. And it's kind of like, I think of it, you know, also being a movement person and sort of a embodied practitioner, sharing and holding space for that and doing it for myself, of like that feeling of complete rejuvenation after we've moved our body in vigorous ways or very restorative ways, when it's just like, oh, there's a part of you that feels relaxed and energized. There is something that happens the more consistently we show up for our meditation practices that can give us a very similar effect and beyond, because I'll say in my experience and what I've heard from my colleagues, especially, and students that have been practicing for a length of time now, that it also connects us to something greater, something beyond this physical form. It's a part of our, you know, our soul or our spirit or connection with the divine or the earth or God, right? Whatever you relate to. So we can get that sort of body high, right, from our movement practices, but with our meditation times, we can get that similar sort of buzz plus this divine spirit, soul, rejuvenation, connection, you know, going to some more of these sort of expansive, quote unquote, higher states. And that has definitely had me coming back for more of like, whoa, what was that? To experience an inner state of spaciousness, to have these opportunities to experience sort of what's beyond this physical form. And this, for the most part, from my experience, I'll say, from being in community with a variety of meditation teachers and hearing from Dr. Lauren Roche and Camille Maureen, and sharing in that community of students and teachers, it's like, we have to show up consistently, right? Just like with our movement, like in order to be able to do the pull up, that's another goal of mine, 2022, the year of the pull up. Like I have to show up consistently in order to be able to get to that. It's not, I'm just, my body is not going to hop up on the bar and be able just to bust out a pull up. Yeah. So if there's goals or aspirations to experience that place of, spaciousness, of expansive, of clarity, of sort of stillness inside of ourselves, like we have to show up consistently for it. It most likely won't just happen overnight because of the fact that we're living in the world where we all have families. We're not renouncing the world. We have families, we have friends, we have jobs, we have pleasure, we have this delicious food, we want to go on adventures. We're filled with so much aliveness and stress and intensity and grief, right? The whole spectrum of living in this, like our brains, our nervous systems need time to kind of to be sorting it out. And our meditation time is a place that can happen, and we can be conscious of this whole all those internal rhythms. And when we allow and we embrace and we welcome that to be a part of our meditation time, it's like we're doing that inner sorting. We're letting our nervous system kind of figure out how to find its equilibrium, maybe at a little bit of a faster, very much, more conscious pace. And this can lead to, when we practice consistently, right, those spaces of clarity and renewal and rejuvenation. So I leave you here today, morning time. I'll take a sip of my little morning beverage. Maybe you do too, if it's morning time and you're in the consideration of bringing meditation into your life. A few ideas to end. To be in the experiment of it, number one, what's that experiment that entices you, that feels exciting, that feels maybe a little bit courageous, maybe slightly daunting, but you're like ready, you're going to answer that call of the adventure of a meditation practice time. So to be in the experiment of it, what's that commitment beyond yourself? Why else? What are you curious about, and how it can enhance or give to another part of your life? Yeah. And then to go and to say yes and to be excited about it. Share with someone, share with me, share with this community. We have these morning meditations for you. I can't wait to hear from you. I can't wait to continue to encourage you to be in a variety of experiments. This one right now, the experiments of meditation. And we'll continue to share a variety of resources and sources and guidance in this. And thanks for spending some moments with me in the consideration. And let's just end with a mini moment, right? A mini meditative experience to look out, take in the environment, and just notice something that's beautiful. A few seconds. What's beautiful? What's a color? What's a shape? What's a light? What's a shadow? A picture? Just something in your space that, or outside the window, right? It could be out there in nature, in your home space or your work space, wherever you may be right now, your car space. You're like, wow, that's just, if I just linger there a little longer, that's pretty amazing. It's amazing that you can see, right? It's amazing. And if you can't see, that you can visualize, or that you can hear, that we can be with one of our senses for a little longer and let that feed us. Right? This is meditation too. A meditative experience. To be with that which we love. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you soon.